G'day everyone and welcome back to Meatball Garage. This is my 2007 VE Calais 6-litre V8. I've owned this car for about 10 years and today I'm going to tell you the 5 things I love about it and the 5 things that I think are a bit shit. First, some history. I bought the car in 2011 with 67,000 k's on the clock. It's now got just on 141,000 on it. The Calais replaced my super cool VT Berliner. Have a look. Yes. Which I returned to stock before I traded it in. At the time, I really wanted a manual VE GTS, but couldn't justify the spend as at the time they were about 60 grand. Not buying a GTS ended up being a good move. Well, for me anyway, because I still had some money in the bank to buy my XW a few years later. So my choices ended up being a VE V8 of some sorts, either a Calais, an SSV or a Caprice, and the Calais won out. So let's crack in at the top 5 things that I really like about this car. So the first thing I like about the Calais is all the things that it has over an SSV, and here are some of them. First is the parking sensors. SSV you only had rear parking sensors, but the Calais you had them at the front as well. You also got this lovely DVD player, which I think has only been used once. But novelty. Door pockets. In the other Commodores and SS etc, you didn't get these nice little door pockets, and these things are really handy. These things can just, I don't know, they open up and you can put so much stuff in there. I thought, again, really cool. Most people wouldn't care about, but I like them. I don't think the SS had this either, which is your cup holders here, but you could slide your armrest over so you could, look at that. If you were short like me, you could have full coverage of your armrest. This car also had memory seats. That was another feature I liked on this car over the SSV. The Calais also had things like puddle lamps and these pretty sweet mirror lamps. Just these little things which give it some more luxuriousness. And finally, the other thing I liked over the SSV was the 3-window trip computer. I love the Holden 3-window trip computer. I love all the information it gives you, and the fact that the SSV didn't have that was one of the reasons I chose this car, because on a long trip, I like all the info. The second thing I love about this car is how lazy it is. This is a 6-litre V8. It's got 530 Newton meters of torque, and most of it is down low in the engine range. So on a long drive, it eats miles. It is a very comfortable car to travel on Australian bumpy roads. You don't have to give it much to get to the speed limit, and you can get pretty comfortable on a long trip. On long trips, this can actually get some pretty reasonable economy too. On Eastlink, I've had it down to about 8 litres per 100 k's, but on a long trip up to the border of New South Wales and Melbourne, with a full car and 5 people, I've seen it return about 10, which is pretty good for a fully laden V8 Commodore, I reckon. The third thing I love about this car is this space that it has. Now, I've already talked about some of the door pockets and things, but look at the room. So much room in here. I barely have passengers in this car, but it does mean when we go away and do stuff, you can load heaps of shit in here. You can put stuff there, stuff on your seats, and the boot is huge. It's a big boot. It's about 500 litres from memory. You could fit easily in here a couple of Eskies, a guitar along the back, 3 or 4 overnight bags, and all the junk food in the world that you pick up in your supermarkets on the way to your destination in this super handy bag here. It's convenient. It's excellent. I mean, you've even got stuff like this sunnies holder, which is really cool, and you've got cup holders here, you've got cup holders there, you've got this lovely space here, which I can put my garage door openers to the Meatball Garage. You can have like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 bottles of water or wine or soft drink in here. The glove box is nice and big. Lots of space. Space is excellent. The fourth thing I love about this car is the 3-window trip computer. I put this separate because I look at this stuff all the time, and coming from the Berliner that had the 3-window trip computer, I really wanted to make sure this, or my next car, had the same thing. I love looking at my economy, I love looking at how much fuel I've got left, to know how much I can shove in the tank when I go to the servo. I love the engineering mode in this, so you can diagnose stuff like, is the car running hot, or is your battery charging properly. I've got a video on engineering mode, check that out, I'll leave a link up above. There's lots of stuff that this thing does, which at the time when we didn't really have the technology with the GPS and all the other crap, showed you a lot of info. And we've just moved position, so I could tell you about the final thing I love about my car is the colour combination, guys. I love black with chrome, or this machine finish with the wheels, the chrome strip along the sill, and the chrome around the windows. I just think that looks fantastic, and in a VE Calais, I reckon this is the best colour combination you can get. Black does suck for keeping it clean, but when it is clean like it is now, it is just like, how good is it? How good is it? And guys, I've just moved car parks to get away from noise, and we've got councilmen doing their jobs on a Friday. Oh, I can't get away from any noise. So anyway, what a better way to start the things that I don't like about this car. The things that give me the shits. The things that I get in every time and I go, oh, come on. So let's go. Number one thing I don't like about this car. Number one, it's a GM product, so the build quality isn't great. Now, I know you get what you pay for and all that sort of crap, but things just aren't. I mean, look, this is good for an Australian car, but these things, although they are great for storage, they rattle and the seats rattle, and this thing bloody rattles. There was a rattle in this door or that door which gave me the right irrits when I first bought the car. These panels here constantly fall down all the time, and I've jerry-rigged them up so they look fantastic and should be secure for however long in the future. But they just, you're driving along and they just go blah, and you're like, fuck's sake. See how dull this side indicator is? Because it fills with water, and it filled with water when it was only about 3 or 4 years old. So come on, guys. See, there's a couple of bugs in my taillights there, couple here, couple there. When I bought this car, or came from Berwick out in the country, well, wherever you want to call that, it was full of bugs. How do they get into taillights? How do you get in there? How? And I've spoken about this on my light bulb change, or the globe change, but I've never owned a Commodore where this part of the boot has not been undone like that. Same over here. It just, over time, they just go blah, and that's the end of it. So if you've got a G8 or something that's in the States or wherever else, tell me, does your boot lining bit, oh gosh, he ran over something over there. Does your boot lining bit do this? And if it does, or if it doesn't, let me know and send me a picture. I'd love to see it. It'd be a museum piece. So it's just those little bits of rattle and stuff that doesn't quite stay together, which you can see why people that bought European cars weren't swayed to go and buy an Australian built one. Number two is the auto. Now, all things considered, it's not too bad. It is a 6-speed, it does cruise along all right, but when you are driving enthusiastically, especially in the sport mode, it is a little bit slow to change, very slow to change. You will find, if you're in first gear and you hammer it and you want to try and be a sports car driver, I guarantee you'll hit the limiter. Also, when it's cold, it is a bit clunky. I know they got better as the VE VF model years progressed, but in this one, being an earlier VE, it does clunk a little bit, and second or third, it does flare a little bit too sometimes. And lastly, when you've got it in a super sport mode, and it does a pretty okay job of learning your driving style, but it doesn't do it with great finesse, so just could have been a little bit better. Look, it was a good try, but just, again, not quite there. The third thing I hate about this car is it just feels like it's missing some tech. Now, this is a Calais V. It is the top of the line for the time. The only options that this car didn't have was a sunroof and factory GPS. But it did miss out on some stuff which the Caprice got, which I thought could have made its way down to the Calais. Would have been nice for bi-xenon headlights or LED taillights to make their way down to the Calais. Same as the auto-dimming rear vision mirror and tyre pressure monitoring. Sunroofs were standard on a lot of base Euros, but the Calais missed out. It took until the last Commodores with the LS3 for Holden to fit an LSD standard with their V8s. The VE Calais missed out. The fourth thing I hate about this thing is it's just the standard general GMH stuff that goes wrong with them. I've gone through 2 alternators, 3 water pumps, heater hoses, radiator hoses, what do you call that thing? Fan belts. And when they go, they all seem to happen all at the same bloody time, so you get left with this really bitter taste in your mouth of how much you love the car, or in my case, hate the car. Within like a month, I went through 2 or 3 of those things, and I was really ready to just part of your GM woes also relate to this. I've had to change my CD stacker because it's knackered. The screen sometimes goes a bit funny, or it changes colour if it gets a bit hot. Can be remedied by just giving it a good belting. The climate control system is also a bit problematic. I've done a video about how to reset your ventilation calibration. Your blend door in here also stuffs up, and it can also do a few other little funny things as well. And for a lot of these cars, it's not a matter of if these things are going to grow on, but when. So if you're going to buy one, make sure a lot of that stuff's been done. And if you're going to buy this car, you'd be pretty good because a lot of that stuff's already been done. And finally, the last thing I really hate about this car is this. That noise. So that's it, guys. After 10 years of ownership, that's the 5 things I love and 5 things that really give me the shits about my Calais VE V8. Do you agree with my list or do you disagree? Let me know in the comments. Do you own a VE or a G8 or even a Lumina SS out in the Middle East? Let me know your favourite thing and the thing that gives you the biggest shits about this car as well. Thanks so much for watching. Like, subscribe, all that sort of crap. Tell your friends, help me grow the channel, and I'll see you next time on Meatball Garage.